Hello everyone. Okay, so before we begin, you know how I said that thing about the new monk skill called Judgement Strike? So my first impressions of this skill is that it's pretty underwhelming. I feel like they could have done a lot more with the monk, whether it be a different skill or a modified version of this skill. For example, its recharge time is 15 seconds. If it was more like 8 or 10 seconds, it would probably have a lot more uses. Well, on April 30th, they released an update to make some modifications to the brand new skills and new weapons that they added. And it just so happens that Judgement Strike's recharge time was reduced to 8 seconds, and its holy damage was also increased to 30, which is pretty interesting. So I started to scratch my head to try to think if this update meant that we could use the monk for anything different now that the skill's a little bit better. And I immediately thought back to the new weapon the monk got. It's a Divine Favor Hammer. And I guess it goes well with the skill if you're into themes and all that, but I just don't see any use for this hammer either. Well, I know what to use it for now, and on to the main point of the video, which is Gates of Kryta farming. Now, before this skill was released, and before it was updated, you could use a monk to farm Gates of Kryta by using Ray of Judgment or Shield of Judgment, but now we have a third option, which is Judgement Strike. And believe it or not, I think this is a very efficient way to do this farm, and not only that, it's also a lot of fun. We don't really get to use hammers that often, especially not in farming, and definitely not very efficiently. There's better options out there. But the whole reason that this method is possible is because of that new Divine Favor hammer we got. Firstly, because it has a Divine Favor requirement, which is good for monk, but secondly, which is the most important, is because it deals holy damage. And that's good because we don't have to rely on choosing skills that exclusively deal holy damage, or skills like Heart of Holy Flame or Judge's Insight that convert your damage to holy damage. So, in order to start this farm, I used a Shout Hero to give myself a speed boost to get to this area behind the house. And before I left, I put Balthazar's Spirit and Blessed Aura on myself so I could gain energy and maintain my enchantments a bit longer. And before you aggro this group, you want to make sure you have Protective Spirit up and Shield of Absorption up, just like any other 55 monk build, basically. And whenever Shield of Absorption recharges, you want to instantly cast it so you're not taking damage. And then all you do is Whirlwind Attack, Crude Swing so you get back Adrenaline to use Whirlwind Attack again, Judgement Strike for more Adrenaline gain, Whirlwind Attack again, Crude Swing, and so on and so forth. You just keep doing that cycle so you could constantly gain Adrenaline to keep using Whirlwind Attack. So once that first group is done, more enemies will spawn down at the bottom of the hill. I'm just waiting here for all of them to come around me so I could attack more enemies and therefore gain more Adrenaline, and just keep doing the cycle over and over again. And the whole reason this is possible, the cycle with Judgement Strike, is because of the reduced cooldown that the skill got. So technically, before this little buff, I'll call it, you could do this method, but you would just be waiting longer for Judgement Strike to recharge. And that would just draw out the length of the farm, and you might as well just use the other methods. But with this method, you're constantly doing AoE holy damage, which is pretty cool that you're using a hammer, and you can just keep constantly pumping out that damage, so I think it's a lot of fun. So anyway, when you're done killing all these melee enemies up here on top of the hill, there could be one or two left. Just auto-attack them, use your skills, whatever, they'll die. But when you're done with them, there are necromancers at the bottom of the hill. And either when you start to pick up your loot, or whenever you start to head down and kill the necromancers, they'll start to spawn minions out of all these dead bodies that you made up here. So you don't have to worry about the minions, you could just keep up Protective Spirit and Shield of Absorption and you'll be fine. Just go straight for the necromancers and just use the cycle just like before and kill them. So once you're done killing these, that's pretty much the farm. You could either stop here, reset, do the same thing over again, or just continue through the mission to keep clearing groups. If it were me, I just like to reset here and start over. In addition to the dust and bones you get, which is pretty much the main purpose of this farm, you could get some pretty interesting old school items as well. And I would also recommend bringing some lockpicks because there could be one or two locked chests that spawn in the area, especially if you're going through the rest of the mission. So yeah, that's the farm. It's a pretty neat addition, a pretty neat modification that they did with Judgement Strike. Does it make it viable for regular PvE or anything else? Probably not. Just got to do some more testing, see if anything else could come of it. But anyway, if you liked the video, please leave a like down below. And if you enjoy this kind of content, I'm always making this kind of stuff, so please consider subscribing. And yeah, good luck and have fun, and thanks for watching.